The Tisas PX9 Gen 3 Duty Comp from SDS Arms. Shooting impressions. Coming up, you'll see my absolute first shots through the gun. We'll do full magazine plus one, see how it runs fully stuffed. Take it over to the trademark What's for Dinner table to see what the gun eats. The spinner for sights and trigger control. Do some practical accuracy and then give you my concluding thoughts. All coming up next on GBGuns! It's going to be a hot one today, guys. High of 95. Not looking forward to it. I'm an Oregon guy. It's just not great for me. Anyways, for first shots, we're about 25 yards away from a 12-inch round to get warmed up. 10 rounds of PMC Bronze 115 grain is the range ammo thus far. Now, if you're experienced with ported guns, you know that generally hotter ammunition tends to perform better, or at least give you more of that porting effect. We may experiment with that as time goes on. Let's see how we feel. I really liked the last 4 PX9s that I've reviewed. It looks like that was high left. High again. I can't tell my misses. The trigger is lighter and smoother than I was expecting, even though I'm familiar with these guns. There we go. I think I found the aiming point. Having some vision challenges here today. Wow, more misses than ever recorded before on GBGuns. Go ahead, all of you at home with insecurity issues, give me those hate comments about how I can't shoot, then we'll watch a different video. Moving on to full magazine plus one. This is purely to see how the gun runs fully stuffed. There's our plus one. We have the 20 rounder extended that comes in, giving us 21 on tap. This I will dump into the dirt intentionally in order to get a feel for the gun and rhythm, give you guys an idea of ejection pattern. Now keep in mind, ejection pattern on pistols is a function of slide velocity, which means it comes down to the ammunition, but some people still think it's important. Pretty smooth. I like the rhythm on it. Trigger is light, very comfortable. The gas pedal TM, I know someone else has trademarked that, the thumb rest takedown lever definitely helped stay on target. My eyes are having issues with these sights today. Could be the intense direct sunlight, who knows? But my shooting is not what we're here for. We're here to figure out the gun. Speaking of, next up is what's for dinner to see what the gun will eat. Pardon my shadow, but it's that time again. What's for dinner time? This time, thanks to Widner's Outdoors for supplying quite a bit of this. You can see we're going from 90 grain up to 165 grain, and as we go past these, you'll see that we have ogives in different locations, different overall loaded length, different case materials and coatings, and of course, different weights. All of this means different energy in the gun. So in what's for dinner, we're looking to see what will the gun eat. Will it feed from side lock? Will it cycle and feed another round of the same type coming back around? Will it lock open on empty the third round to reduce variables? And we're keeping it at 3 to save time and resources. If you want to try any of this stuff for yourself, check the pinned comment. I will link to sources where I can find them. What's for dinner is filmed from 7 yards away on some 2-inch circles. These circles provide us a general point of aim. It's not the most precise aiming point, but the important part is to look for any wild shift in point of impact. Now with ported guns, sometimes that can mean that you've got a plated bullet and some of the plate got shaved by the porting. Fortunately, in the PX9 Gen 3 Duty Comp, the barrel's backboard, meaning the inner diameter where the port is actually larger than the rifling, so we shouldn't have any bullet to rifling contact. Starting off with Underwood Extreme Defender 90 grain, our lightest, solid copper for circle 1. Hitting a bit left. I wonder if this sight Yeah, it is slightly off. Nothing we can do about it now. But the gun functioned, and that's what we're looking for. MagTech 95 grain jacketed soft point for circle 2. Very soft shooting in this. Definitely feeling, not feeling, but I'm aware of the blast coming out of that port. Keep in mind, the port is most effective with the gassiest ammo. That's likely to be your higher velocity ammo. Circle 3 is a Blazer reduced recoil 100 grainer. This would be probably less than ideal. But it runs. I did not feel the blast on my face. Also didn't feel as much of that compensation happening. You guys can be the judge. You're watching from the side. I'm just doing the shooting. Circle 4 is our SIG 365 V-Crown 115 grain. That's got more recoil. But functioned very well. And as we can see, I can group. The challenge is hitting slightly left at 7 yards means that at 25-ish yards or wherever the heck that was, that slightly left is way left. So that's probably what was going on. Now this can be fixed with a sight pusher, or you could be the lazy but expendable money route and just throw a dot on it. I do plan on comparing this side by side with the traditional Gen 3 duty model with dots on both. I just got to get matching dots for the two of them. I think that's the most fair way to compare so that there's not a slight advantage or disadvantage from one of the dots. Circle 5 is the HAG Hornady American Gunner, but the 124 grain variety. Spicier. Yeah, low and left, and it's not a Glock and it's not me. Circle 6 is the Pimix PMC SFX 124 grain. Tends to be an affordable hollow point, also tends to group very well. Having said that, and having an off day, how do we do? Smells a bit like a dirty barbecue grill. No issues. Cycling, crowd favorite, the Federal Premium Law Enforcement HST 124 grains. These tend to have more recoil, but I can feel that some of that is being balanced out. And again, we're hitting low and left. Hornady Critical Duty 135 grain, the non-plus P variant for Circle 8. Magwell is, usually I like magwells solely for enhancing the grip. I tend to not have a need for a magazine well. I know where the magazine well is on my pistol. It tends to be centered in my hand. However, with this heat, my brain's cooking a little bit and my coordination is off a little bit. And just then, when I was loading, I felt that magazine well help get things in there. So I retract my previous statement of magazine wells really only functioning for grips, and I now say they also work well for the mentally impaired. I'm considering myself mentally impaired at the moment. Winchester Defense 147 grain. These tend to be spicy ones. This will be a good one for that comp. Yeah, not spicy at all on this gun. That was me. Yeah, the comp definitely works on that hotter ammo. Now here's another antithesis to that. The Ammo Inc. Stolth, no A, 165 grain subsonic, meant for suppressor use, super soft shooting, super quiet, but that super soft shooting means that and it being a heavy bullet, probably don't have a whole lot of gas to get the comp, but doesn't matter when it's already a soft round. It's like a cap gun. And it functions well. So, no issues feeding the gun. Let's try sights and trigger control over on the spinner. That is a 6-inch spinner. We are back about 13 yards away. This is a fun one, but it also helps with sights and trigger control because it's a small target at distance, and as I hit it, it begins to move. If I want to get it over the top, I have to hit it only when it's moving away and hit it well. That requires timing a precise shot, hence this is a great exercise for sights and trigger control. Right next to you, I've got 8 rounds of the PMC 115 grain. Let's see how we do. I'm going to aim slightly high, know that we're hitting it low and left. Out of ammo. I believe hit 5 or 6 out of the 8, which would show us that that PMC 115 minus the port energy loss wasn't quite enough oomph to get over. The important part, however, was that I was able to time and make those shots. Sights and trigger control on that, how'd it work for me? Well, you know I'm having issues with the sights today. I think it's my vision, it might be the sunlight. A dot would change that. The trigger, very easy to time. As noted in the tabletop, the reset is very soft, almost indistinguishable, so it's just a matter of learning the distance, which obviously I was able to do just fine. But the break is easy to time, easy to do precisely, and this new revised magazine well, I liked the original, but this new revised one fits very well for my hands to help scoop me on there, keeping me on target a little bit easier, and of course the compensation, keeping the nose down, makes it easier to be back on sights faster. That's the whole point. Now let's do practical accuracy. Practical accuracy is done on a 1-inch square from 7 yards, which at this distance tends to visually be about the same size as the front sight post, which makes a great aiming point. 5 rounds of that PMC Bronze 115 grain. See if my eyes can hold with us. Well, we've definitely verified now that low left is happening on this. My aftershot thoughts on the PX9 Gen 3 Duty Comp. It's a further enhancement of a gun that I already enjoyed. Now, the compensation, you guys know my thoughts on carrying a comped gun, but as a range gun, or general use gun, I think it did pretty well. Very comfortable to shoot. It would be easy to spend a day running this. As I recall, it is 226 pattern magazines, so magazines are readily available, and it comes with, of course, the mech GARs. Slapping a dot on this would certainly solve the sight issue for me. I think part of it is the intense light, part of it is my brain cooking, making it a little more difficult for me to aim today. But I'll own that. I don't think the gun had any mechanical issues that we could see, and the thing freaking ran. I also want to say I did not change any of the grip panels I have on previous models, bearing in mind that you have 27 different options for how this is going to fit your hand. I just wanted to try it out of the box. Seemed pretty good. I have a little bit of space maybe on my firing hand to go for a larger panel here. I might try that. Might leave it as is. The thumb rest takedown lever certainly was a plus. There was, I think, one round, one of the loads knocked me off of it, but otherwise I was able to stay on. That's due to 1, the traction on it, and then 2, of course, the compensation doing its job. Pretty good gun, pretty good lineup. This trigger, the wall is not clean. It's not like a hammer-fired gun where you come to a defined glass rod break kind of thing, but you still, you know when you've prepped the trigger, and coming through it is pretty nice. And I would argue that for some shooters, that's actually better than the glass rod trigger because you're not going to anticipate. You kind of roll into the break. So it doesn't give you a moment of saying, now, kind of thing, unless you're really slapping the trigger. And if you're slapping the trigger that bad, no trigger is going to save you, except for maybe a double action only. I think it's a great addition to the lineup. I can't wait to shoot it side by side with the standard duty model and see what kind of results we get, especially if I can do it with AccuShoot and have some precise timing and scoring to look at differences between the ported and non-ported. Let me know what your questions are, and thanks for watching.
Thank you to our Patreon supporters. GBGuns and I do 2 level. Tomboys SS, Eddie O'Brien, Dave F. Dave Rick S. Jr. Donald H. Fast, Eddie, Gary B. George H. Greg K. Joseph T. Marvin T. Bay, Rich Sky King, Hello to Fame Jenna. H. Brad M. Maiden P. Gary LC Kill B. Gorgie BC 1986. Have FTJ.